I thought I'd escaped my toxic ex-wife forever when she vanished 2 years ago. Then she showed up at my door in the middle of a storm, soaking wet and begging for forgiveness. What I discovered next about her real motives will shock you. And what she tried to do to my children and new girlfriend nearly destroyed everything I'd rebuilt. This is the story of how far a vindictive woman will go when she can't accept losing control. My name is Julian Morrow. I'm 42 years old, and I run a small accounting firm in suburban Ohio. 3 employees, steady clients, nothing fancy, but it pays the bills and keeps my kids, Chloe and Lucas, in a decent neighborhood with good schools. At least it did until my world imploded. 2 years ago, the night everything changed started like any other Thursday. I was in my home office reviewing quarterly reports for Henderson Manufacturing, when Sylvie Durand walked in wearing that red dress she only wore when she wanted attention. Her makeup was perfect, hairstyled like she was heading some fancy event. "I'm going out," Sylvie announced, not asked. "Mandy's birthday party downtown." I looked up from my laptop. "Mandy from your yoga class? I thought you said you barely knew her." Sylvie's jaw tightened. "We've gotten closer. Don't wait up." She was already heading for the door when I called after her. "What time should I expect you home?" "I don't know, Julian," she snapped, turning around with fire in her eyes. "Maybe I won't come home at all. Maybe I need a break from this suffocating routine." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I kept my voice steady. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm tired of feeling invisible in my own life," Sylvie said, grabbing her purse. "When's the last time you looked at me? Really looked at me? When's the last time we talked about anything other than bills and the kids' schedules?" I stood up, my chair rolling back. "Sylvie, if you're unhappy, we can talk about it. We can work on things." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Work on things? Julian, I've been trying to get your attention for months. You're married to that computer more than you are to me." "That's not fair," I said, my voice rising. "I work hard to provide for this family. Everything I do is for you and the kids." "No," Sylvie shot back. "Everything you do is for your precious routine, your safe, predictable, boring life where nothing ever changes and nothing ever surprises you." The front door slammed behind her with such force that the family photo on my desk shifted. I stared at that picture, all 4 of us smiling at last year's Christmas morning, and wondered when we'd stopped being happy. That was the last time I saw my wife. She left for a party and vanished from our lives completely. For 3 days, I waited, called her phone, texted, even drove by Mandy's house. Nothing. On the 4th day, I found out through Chloe's friend's mother that Sylvie had been seen at the airport with some guy none of us recognized. A week later, her sister finally returned my calls and told me Sylvie was finding herself in Miami. I filed for divorce 6 months later. Sylvie never contested it, never asked for alimony, never even came back for her things. She just disappeared. Like our 16-year marriage meant nothing. Like Chloe and Lucas meant nothing. The kids took it hard, especially Chloe. She blamed me for months. Said I drove mom away with my boring job and predictable routine. Lucas just got quiet. Stopped talking about his day at school. Stopped asking when mom was coming home. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. It either breaks you or makes you stronger. I chose stronger. I moved us to a smaller house across town, closer to the kids' school, started taking Chloe to therapy, coached Lucas's little league team, built the accounting firm into something bigger, something I could be proud of. 2 years later, I thought I'd finally put the pieces back together. I was wrong. The thunder outside sounded like the world was splitting apart. Rain hammered against my home office. Windows where I was finishing Patterson's auto shop books. Chloe was upstairs doing homework. Lucas building Legos in the living room. A normal Tuesday evening. Then the doorbell rang. Long, insistent, desperate. 9:30 at night. Nobody came calling this late unless something was wrong. I walked to the front door and checked the peephole, expecting Mark or a neighbor. Instead, I saw Sylvie. She stood there soaked, mascara running down her cheeks like black tears. Hair plastered to her head, missing one shoe. She wore an oversized hoodie that looked familiar, one of mine she'd taken years ago. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. 2 years of silence, single parenting, explaining to the kids why mom never called on birthdays. 2 years rebuilding our lives from nothing. And here she was at my doorstep pleading with her eyes. I didn't move, just stared through the peephole, heart hammering. She looked broken, fragile. Part of me wanted to throw open the door. But the bigger part, the part that watched Chloe cry herself to sleep for months, stayed put. Sylvie pressed closer to the door. "Julian," she called out, voice muffled, but desperate. "I know you're in there. Please, just 5 minutes. 5 minutes." That's what she thought it would take. Footsteps on the stairs. "Dad." Chloe's voice carried down. "Who's at the door?" "Nobody important," I called back. "Go back to your homework." But Chloe didn't retreat. Sylvie must have heard too because she straightened up, wiped her face. "Is that Chloe?" Sylvie called louder. "Chloe, honey, it's Mom." My blood turned to ice. Chloe appeared halfway down the stairs, face white as paper. Behind her, Lucas stood in the living room doorway. "Mom," Chloe whispered, hope breaking my heart. I made a decision, stepped outside, pulling the door shut behind me. Sylvie's face lit up with relief, but I held up my hand. "Don't," I said firmly. "Don't get their hopes up. Not after what you did." Sylvie's composure shattered. "Julian, please. I made a mistake. Thierry left me with nothing." "You didn't lose everything," I said coldly. "You threw it away. There's a difference." She stepped closer. "I need help. I have nowhere else to go." "That's not my problem anymore," I told her. "You made your choice 2 years ago." "The kids need their mother," Sylvie said. "The kids needed their mother 2 years ago," I replied. "Where were you for Chloe's first dance, Lucas's championship, his nightmares?" Sylvie went white. "I thought about them every day." "Thinking and being here are different things," I said. "Right now, they're happy, stable. They don't need you turning their world upside down again." Through the window, both kids pressed against the glass, watching with wide eyes. "You need to leave," I said finally. "Tonight. Julian, please. I'm begging you." "You're 2 years too late for begging," I told her, stepping back inside and closing the door firmly. Sylvie wouldn't give up easily. The woman who spent 3 months planning revenge against a neighbor wasn't walking away after one conversation. Next morning, Chloe barely spoke at breakfast. Lucas pushed cereal around his bowl. Both kids kept glancing at the front door. "Is Mom coming back?" Lucas finally asked. I set down my coffee. "I don't know, buddy. But whatever happens, we'll handle it together." Chloe looked up sharply. "You didn't even let her explain, Dad." "Sometimes sorry isn't enough," I said gently. "Sometimes people prove they've changed through actions, not words." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Julian, it's me." Sylvie's voice was harder now. "Meet me at Henderson Park in an hour, or I'll be back tonight when the kids are home." The threat was clear. She knew my weaknesses. "Fine," I said. 1 hour. Henderson Park was where we used to take the kids. Sylvie stood by the playground. No longer the broken woman from last night. She cleaned up, and the vulnerable act was gone. "You look better," I said, keeping distance. "I had time to think about what I really want," Sylvie replied. "Which is?" She smiled coldly. "My children, my house, my life back." "That life doesn't exist anymore," I countered. Sylvie showed me her phone. A photo of me and Isabel at Romano's. Quite cozy. My blood went cold. "How long have you been back?" "Long enough to see how quickly you replaced me." "The kids don't know about her yet, do they?" "Isabel and I started dating 8 months ago, long after you abandoned us." "Did I abandon you?" Sylvie's smile turned predatory. "I've been talking to lawyers. My father still has influence, even if he's angry right now. Judge Charles Leroy. Sylvie's ace. You can't just claim custody," I said. "Watch me." I filed paperwork. Emergency hearing next week. Claiming you're unfit, unstable, keeping children from their mother, exposing them to strangers. "That's a lie," I insisted. "Is it? You move them, change schools." Chloe's grades dropped. "Now you're bringing random women around them." My hands clenched, but I kept my voice steady. "What do you really want?" "Everything back the way it was. You, me, the kids, the house." "And if I refuse?" Sylvie's mask slipped completely. "Then I'll destroy you. Take the kids, the house, your business reputation. You'll have nothing." I stared at her, finally seeing the real Sylvie. Not the woman I'd married, but a calculating predator. "You're making a mistake," I said quietly. No, Julian. You are, if you think you can keep what's mine. Mark Dubois had been my best friend since high school, former Marine, now a private investigator. When I called him after the park meeting, he was at my office within an hour. She threatened custody? Mark asked. Filed papers. Emergency hearing next week. On what grounds? Claims I'm unfit. Traumatized the kids by moving them. Introducing Isabel. Keeping them from their mother. Any judge will see through that. Any judge except her father. Judge Leroy still has friends on family court. Mark leaned back. We need to be smart. What do you know about her Miami time? Nothing. She disappeared completely. Then that's where we start. Mark pulled out his phone. I've got contacts down there. That evening, I sat the kids down. They deserved to know before Sylvie poisoned them. Your mom wants you to live with her, I said gently. Chloe's eyes lit up. Really? Where? I don't know yet. But no matter what anyone says, I'll never stop fighting for you. You're my kids. Lucas looked confused. Are you getting back together? No, buddy. But your mom thinks she can convince a judge to let you live with her. I don't want to leave, Lucas said suddenly. I like our house. My school. Chloe was quiet. What if we want to see mom, but still live here? That would be up to the judge. But I promise I'll fight for what's best for you. Next morning, Sylvie's first strike came through Chloe's phone. Text messages with photos. Me and Isabel holding hands, kissing goodnight, laughing at the farmer's market. Chloe confronted me at breakfast. Who is she, Dad? Mom showed Lucas the pictures, too. Her name is Isabel. She's a nurse. We've been dating 8 months. Why didn't you tell us? Chloe demanded. I wanted to be sure it was serious before bringing her into your lives. Chloe's phone buzzed again. Another text from Sylvie. Ask her father how many nights she spent in her house. My jaw tightened. Sylvie was playing dirty, twisting the truth. Isabel never spent nights when the kids were home. Chloe, give me your phone. Why? Because your mother is using it to manipulate you. Chloe hesitated, then handed it over. I blocked Sylvie's number. She's still our mom, Chloe said quietly. Yes, but right now she's acting like someone who wants to hurt me, using you to do it. My phone rang. Mark, Julian, you need to hear this. I found out why Sylvie came back. Thierry didn't just leave her. He cleaned out their account and disappeared. She's broke. But that's not the worst part. What's the worst part? She's been back 3 weeks, staying at a motel, watching your house, following you and the kids. This wasn't a desperate plea for forgiveness. This was a planned attack. Sylvie wasn't trying to rebuild our family. She was trying to destroy the new one we built. Mark's investigation revealed disturbing news. He called Wednesday morning with information that made my stomach drop. Julian, I found Thierry in Miami. Sylvie's been paying a family psychologist named Dr. Amélie Leclerc to write reports about the kids' supposed emotional trauma. My blood ran cold. She's bribing a psychologist? It gets worse. Dr. Leclerc has been calling Chloe's school, claiming she's conducting a court-ordered evaluation, but there's no court order yet. She's gathering ammunition before the hearing. That afternoon, I picked up Chloe and Lucas early from school. Chloe was unusually quiet. Lucas kept fidgeting. Everything okay, you two? I asked. Chloe finally spoke. Dad, there was this lady at school today. She said she was a doctor and wanted to ask me questions about living with you. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What kind of questions? Like, do you ever get angry? Do you yell? She kept asking if I missed Mom and if you kept me from seeing her. I pulled into our driveway and turned to face both kids. Listen carefully. If anyone else comes asking questions about our family, you tell them they need to talk to me first. Nobody has the right to interview you without my permission. Lucas looked scared. Are we in trouble? No, buddy. But your mom is trying to convince people I'm not taking good care of you. This doctor was gathering evidence for her. But that's not true, Chloe said. You're a great dad. You help with homework, cook dinner, come to all my soccer games. I know that and you know that. But sometimes people try to twist the truth to get what they want. That evening, I called Dr. Leclerc directly. When she answered, I was direct. Dr. Leclerc, this is Julian Moreau. You interviewed my daughter without my consent. Mr. Moreau, her voice was professionally smooth. I was conducting a preliminary assessment for court proceedings. This is standard procedure. Standard procedure requires court authorization or parental consent. You had neither. I was under the impression Mrs. Durand had custody rights to authorize evaluations. Mrs. Durand has no custody rights. We're divorced, and I have full custody. Any further contact with my children without written consent will result in a complaint to the state licensing board. Mr. Moreau, I think you're overreacting. No, doctor. You're being paid to build a case against me. Stay away from my kids. I hung up and called my lawyer. If Sylvie wanted to play dirty, she was about to learn I could fight back just as hard. The emergency custody hearing was Friday morning at 9 a.m. My lawyer, Gilles Fournier, met me at the courthouse steps looking concerned. Julian, I need to be straight with you, Gilles said as we walked through security. Judge Leroy has been making calls. 3 family court judges have already recused themselves from this case. Recused themselves? What? Professional courtesy. Nobody wants to rule against Raymond Leroy's daughter. We're stuck with Judge Pascal, and he's new to family court. Inexperienced, easily influenced. My stomach sank. So Sylvie gets her father's friend as a judge. Pascal clerked for Leroy 10 years ago. There's history there. We entered the courtroom. Sylvie sat at the plaintiff's table with a lawyer I didn't recognize. She looked every inch the concerned mother. Conservative dress, modest makeup, tissues ready. When the hearing began, Sylvie's lawyer painted me as an unstable, angry man who'd stolen the children from their loving mother. They presented Dr. Leclerc's preliminary report despite my lawyer's objections. Your Honor, Sylvie's lawyer said, Mr. Moreau has alienated these children from their mother, moved them from their established support system, and introduced them to strangers without regard for their emotional well-being. Judge Pascal nodded along, taking notes. When our turn came, Gilles Fournier fought back hard. Your Honor, Mrs. Durand abandoned her family for 2 years. No contact, no support, no concern for her children's welfare. She only returned when her new relationship fell apart. But I could see Pascal wasn't buying it. When he asked Sylvie to speak, she delivered a performance worthy of an Oscar. Your Honor, Sylvie said, her voice breaking at the right moments. I made a terrible mistake. I was struggling with depression, feeling invisible in my marriage. I know leaving was wrong, but I was getting help, trying to become better. When I was ready to come home, Julian had poisoned my children against me. She produced tissues, dabbed her eyes. I just want a chance to be their mother again, to make amends. It was masterful manipulation, and I could see it working on Pascal. Then Gilles Fournier played our ace. Your Honor, we'd like to call Thierry Vidal to testify via video conference from Miami. Sylvie's face went white. Her lawyer objected, but Pascal allowed it. Thierry appeared on the courtroom screen, and his testimony destroyed Sylvie's narrative. He detailed her obsession with revenge against me, her drinking problem, her violent outbursts. She wasn't depressed, Thierry said bluntly. She was angry. Angry at Julian for being stable when she wanted chaos. Angry at her kids for reminding her of responsibilities she didn't want. Judge Pascal's expression changed as Thierry continued. She didn't leave to get better. She left because she thought the grass was greener. When it wasn't, she decided to burn down Julian's lawn instead. Sylvie's lawyer tried to object, but the damage was done. Pascal postponed his decision, pending further investigation. As we left the courthouse, Sylvie cornered me in the parking lot. This isn't over, Julian, she hissed. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, I said calmly, I'm starting to get a pretty good picture. Judge Pascal postponed his custody decision for a week. Mark had been busy investigating, and what he uncovered made my blood run cold. Julian, she's escalating, Mark said Monday morning. Sylvie maxed out 3 credit cards before coming back here. She's desperate for money, but that's not the worst part. I leaned forward. What's the worst part? She's recruiting allies. Dr. Leclerc isn't just taking Sylvie's money. She's coaching her on what to say, how to act. They're building a complete character assassination. Mark showed me photos on his phone. These were taken outside Chloe's school last Tuesday. Sylvie sitting in her car for 3 hours watching the playground. My hands clenched. She's stalking my kids. It gets worse. She's been following Isabel, too. Here's Sylvie outside Cleveland taking pictures of Isabel leaving work. And here she is outside Isabel's apartment at midnight Friday. The photo showed Sylvie's obsessive behavior. Clearly, she wasn't fighting for custody. She was conducting surveillance. There's more, Mark continued. Thierry says Sylvie kept detailed files on you during their relationship. Photos, notes about your routine, your work schedule. She's been planning this for months. That afternoon, Chloe came home upset. She dropped her backpack and looked at me with worried eyes. Dad, something weird happened today. Mom was at the school fence during lunch, just standing there watching us play. It made me feel strange. My protective instincts flared. Did she try to talk to you? No, but she waved. I didn't wave back. Should I have? I knelt to Chloe's level. You did exactly right. If you see your mother near school again, tell your teacher immediately and call me. Is she trying to take us away? Chloe asked quietly. She's trying to convince a judge you'd be better off with her. But I won't let that happen. You belong here with me. That evening, my phone rang. Isabel's name appeared, but when I answered, it wasn't Isabel's voice. Hello, Julian, Sylvie said smoothly. Surprised to hear from me? My blood turned to ice. Where's Isabel? What did you do? Relax. She's fine. Just temporarily indisposed. While we chat. If you've hurt her. I told you she's fine for now, but that could change if you don't listen. I grabbed my car keys. What do you want? Simple. You withdraw your custody objections. Let me have Chloe and Lucas, and everyone stays safe. Continue fighting me, and things get complicated for people you care about. You're threatening Isabel. I'm offering you a choice, Sylvie said calmly. Your girlfriend's safety or your stubborn pride. What's more important, Julian? The line went dead. I called Mark while racing to my car. She's got Isabel. I'm heading to Isabel's apartment. I'm calling the police and meeting you there, Mark said. Don't do anything stupid. Sylvie's past rational behavior. As I drove through the night, one thought consumed me. Sylvie had just made the biggest mistake of her life. I arrived at Isabel's apartment to find Mark with 2 police officers. Isabel's car was there, but her apartment was empty. No signs of struggle. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I told Detective Barnes. Sylvie called from Isabel's number, threatening her safety if I don't give up custody. Barnes took notes. Any idea where your ex-wife might take her? Riverside Motel on 5th Street, Mark said. I've been tracking her movements. We'll check there first, Barnes said. But until we have proof of actual harm, our options are limited. My phone buzzed. Text from Isabel's number. Parking garage at Westfield Mall, level 3. Come alone or she disappears permanently. I showed Barnes the message. Now, do we have enough proof? Yes, but you're not going alone. 20 minutes later, I walked into the parking garage with Barnes and 2 officers positioned around the area. Mark monitored from his car. I found Sylvie standing next to Isabel's Honda, looking surprisingly calm for someone who'd just committed kidnapping. Isabel was nowhere visible. Where is she? I demanded. Safe, Sylvie replied. For now. You came alone like a good boy. The police are here. This is over. She laughed. Police? Julian? You don't understand what's happening. I'm not the one going to jail tonight. What are you talking about, Sylvie? She showed me her phone. Security footage from Isabel's apartment building. Timestamp altered in a video. I appear to be forcing my way into Isabel's apartment. Amazing what editing software can do, Sylvie said. This shows you abducting your girlfriend along with the domestic violence report I filed this afternoon. My stomach dropped. That's fabricated. Is it? I have phone records of you calling me repeatedly. Photos of you following me. Witness statements from concerned citizens. Detective Barnes emerged, approaching slowly. Ma'am, I need you to tell me where Isabel Torres is right now. Sylvie turned with a sweet smile. Officer, thank goodness. This man has been stalking and threatening me for weeks. She handed Barnes a folder. Documentation of his unstable behavior, including a restraining order I filed this afternoon. Barnes flipped through the papers, expression growing concerned. Mr. Moreau, step back. She's lying. She kidnapped Isabel. I don't know where this Isabel person is, Sylvie said innocently. Julian has been having paranoid episodes. His ex-wife complex is getting worse. Then Mark's voice came through my earpiece. Julian, I found her. Isabel's in Sylvie's motel room, tied up but unharmed. Police are moving in now. Relief flooded through me, followed by rage. Sylvie had destroyed any remaining sympathy I had for her. Detective Barnes, I said calmly, you might want to check Riverside Motel, room 237. You'll find Isabel Torres there. Sylvie's confident expression faltered for the first time. Sylvie's arrest made headlines in our small Ohio town. Local woman charged with kidnapping and fraud ran across the front page of the Tribune. Judge Charles Leroy's name appeared in the article as declining to comment on his daughter's legal troubles. Mark met me at the courthouse for Sylvie's arraignment. Julian, you need to see this, he said, handing me a folder. The FBI got involved when they discovered the extent of her cyber crimes. She didn't just target you. I flipped through the documents. Sylvie had been running similar schemes on 3 other ex-husbands across the country using fake identities and forged court documents. She's a serial predator, Mark continued. The Miami incident with Thierry was just one stop on a multi-state crime spree. She's been living off this for 2 years. Inside the courtroom, I barely recognized the woman who had once been my wife. Sylvie sat in orange jail clothes, her hair unwashed, makeup gone. All the calculated charm had vanished, leaving only a bitter, defeated shell. Her lawyer, clearly assigned by the court, looked overwhelmed. Your Honor, my client is willing to plead guilty to reduced charges in exchange for cooperation with ongoing federal investigations. Judge Pascal, not her father, who had recused himself completely, wasn't having it. Mrs. Durand, you've been charged with kidnapping, fraud, cyberstalking, and conspiracy. The evidence against you is overwhelming. When Sylvie finally spoke, her voice was small. Nothing like the confident predator who'd threatened my family. I just wanted my children back. I made mistakes, but I never meant for things to go this far. Mrs. Durand, Judge Pascal said sternly, you orchestrated a campaign of terror against your ex-husband and his family. You hired criminals to hack private accounts, falsified legal documents, and kidnapped an innocent woman. These weren't mistakes. They were calculated crimes. The sentence was harsh but fair. 8 years in federal prison followed by 5 years probation. No contact with me or the children during that time. All custody rights permanently terminated. As Sylvie was led away in handcuffs, she turned and looked at me one last time. I expected to see hatred or defiance. Instead, I saw something that might have been regret. Outside the courthouse, Isabel was waiting with Chloe and Lucas. The kids had insisted on coming, wanting to see this chapter of their lives finally close. Is it really over, Dad? Lucas asked. Yes, buddy. It's really over. Chloe looked thoughtful. I feel sorry for her. She threw away everything good for something that was never going to make her happy. At 14, my daughter had more wisdom than her mother ever would. That evening, we had dinner together. Me, Chloe, Lucas, and Isabel. For the first time in months, there was no tension, no looking over our shoulders, no fear of what Sylvie might do next. So what happens now? Isabel asked. I looked around the table at the people who matter most to me. Now we live our lives without fear. Now we focus on building something positive instead of defending against something destructive. Judge Charles Leroy resigned from the bench 3 weeks later. His reputation destroyed by his daughter's crimes and his attempt to use his influence on her behalf. The investigation revealed he'd made inappropriate calls to other judges trying to stack the deck in Sylvie's favor. Sometimes justice isn't perfect, but sometimes it's exactly what it needs to be. 6 months after Sylvie's sentencing, life had settled into a new rhythm. Chloe made honor roll. Lucas's Little League team won their division championship, and Isabel moved in with us after we got engaged on Christmas morning. The accounting firm was thriving. Word of how I'd handled Sylvie's attacks had actually brought in new clients who respected how I protected my family. Mark often joked that Sylvie had accidentally given me the best marketing campaign of my career. Dad, Chloe said one Saturday morning as we made pancakes together. Do you ever think about Mom? I considered the question carefully. Sometimes I think about the person she used to be before she became someone I didn't recognize. Do you hate her? No, I said honestly. I feel sorry for her. She had everything good. You, Lucas, a family who loved her, and she threw it all away, chasing something that was never real. Chloe nodded thoughtfully. Isabel's good for us. She doesn't try to replace Mom, but she makes us feel like a family again. Is that okay with you? More than okay. We deserve to be happy, Dad. All of us. That afternoon, Isabel and I sat on the back porch watching Chloe and Lucas play with the neighbors' kids. Normal sounds of normal children having normal fun. Something I'd almost forgotten during Sylvie's campaign of terror. Any regrets? Isabel asked. About Sylvie? No. I tried to save that marriage for years before she left. I gave her every chance to be the person I thought she could be. What about fighting for custody? Some people might say you should have let her have the kids. Avoided all the drama. I shook my head firmly. The best thing I ever did was protect Chloe and Lucas from their mother's toxicity. Children aren't weapons to be used in adult battles. They're not possessions to be won or lost. They're people who deserve stability, love, and protection. What if she gets out early? What if she tries to contact them? Then we'll handle it the same way we handled everything else. As a family, with the truth, and with the support of people who actually care about us. Mark stopped by that evening for dinner, as he often did. He'd become like an uncle to the kids, and his loyalty during the dark times had cemented our friendship for life. Any word on the other cases? I asked as we grilled burgers. 2 more convictions. Sylvie's information helped the FBI shut down the entire network. Turns out there were dozens of people involved in these kinds of schemes. Targeting divorced men, fabricating evidence, exploiting family court systems. Good. Maybe other families won't have to go through what we did. As the sun set, I looked around at my rebuilt life. Chloe and Lucas were happy, healthy, and secure. Isabel brought laughter and love into our home. My business was successful. I had friends I could count on. Sylvie had tried to destroy all of this out of spite and selfishness. Instead, she'd only made us stronger. The best revenge against someone who tries to poison your life is to live well despite them. To build something beautiful from the ashes of what they try to burn down. That's exactly what we did, and that's exactly what we'll keep doing, one day at a time.